Hi guys, good afternoon. So today's video, I'm going to discuss about the life and the works of Geoffrey Chaucer and John Gower. So hold on to your seat and let's begin. So, who is Geoffrey Chaucer? Chaucer, the name is French and seems to have meant originally shoemaker, came into the world probably in 1338, the first important author who was born and lived in London, which with him becomes the center of English literature. He was been called the father of English literature, or alternatively, the father of English poetry. Chaucer also gained fame as the philosopher and astronomer, composing the scientific treatise on the astrolabe for his 10-year-old son Lewis. He maintained a career in the civil service as a bureaucrat, courtier, diplomat, and a member of parliament. So, more about Chaucer. The great work of the period, however, and the crowning achievement of Chaucer's life is the Canterbury Tales. Everyone is familiar with the plan of the story. On 12th of July 1389, Chaucer was appointed the clerk of the king's works, a sort of a foreman organizing most of the king's buildings projects. In September 1390, record says that Chaucer was robbed and possibly injured while conducting the business, and he stopped working in his capacity on July 17, 1391. So, a further information about Chaucer. Chaucer died of unknown causes on 25 of October 1400s, although the only evidence for his date comes from the engraving on his tomb, which was erected more than 100 years after his death. Chaucer was buried in Westminster Abbey in London, as was his right owing to his status as a tenant of the Abbey's closed. In 1556, his remains were transferred to a more ornate tomb, making him the first writer entered in the area now known as the Poets' Corner. So guys, let's move on to the life of John Gower. John Gower. John Gower was an English poet, a contemporary of William Langland and the Pearl poet, and a personal friend of Geoffrey Chaucer. He was probably born into a family which held properties in Kent and Suffolk. He is remembered primarily for three major works. One is the Meror di Ome, Vox Clamantes, and Confessi Amantes, three long poems written in French, Latin, and English respectively, which are united by common moral and political themes. He is generally a smooth and fluent versifier, but his fluency is his undoing. He wraps up his material into great amass of verbiage. Critics have observed that he must have spent considerable time reading the Bible, Ovid, Secretum, Secretorum, Petros, Rega, Speculationum, Velaris, Maximus, John of Salisbury, and others. So, when Chaucer was sent as a diplomat to Italy in 1378, Gower was one of the men to whom he gave power of attorney over his affairs in England. The two poets also paid one another compliments in their verse. Chaucer dedicated his Troilus and Chryside in part to Merle Gower, and Gower reciprocated by placing a speech in praise of Chaucer in the Mount of Venus at the end of Confessio Amantes. At some point during the middle 1370s, he took up residence in rooms provided by the Priory of Saint Marie Overy, or Saint Mary Overy. In 1398, while living here, he married, probably for the second time. His wife was Agnes Grundolf, who survived him in his last years, and possibly as early as 1400s. he became blind. After his death in 1408, Gower was entered in an ostentatious tomb in the priory church, now called Sartwer Cathedral, where it remains until today. So that's it for today. Thank you for watching this video, and I hope you learn something very significant about the life of Chaucer and John Gower in literature. Thank you for your time, and God bless.